sign a striker in time? And of course, a big story this window involves Arsenal and their need to sign a striker, if there is a need, because Mikel Arteta did get quite tetchy with our colleague Jamie Weir, didn't he, when he was asked that question a couple of days ago. Maybe misunderstood what the question was. But what is the latest on Arsenal's search for a striker?
Well, I think Mikel Arteta said pretty clearly in that press conference, and I think what Jamie Weir did a fantastic job in getting him to confirm is they want to do business in this window. But Arteta also said it's not up to them solely. You know, it's such a difficult window to make big moves happen. If you're Arsenal, of course, Mikel Arteta is fully aware they need another forward option. Of course, losing Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus to injury leaves them short. Also think when you look at the Wolves game on the weekend, you don't want to pick on Kai Havertz because it feels like we talk about him every week, but he is missing that clinical touch at the moment. He missed 2 or 3 opportunities against Wolves that you just think a typical number 9 with that clinical nature would finish. And they almost did drop points against Wolves. Wolves did have their chances, and Arsenal were down to 10 men for a large portion of that game, and that game could have seen them out of the title race, with Liverpool winning again on the weekend. So I think Arteta said it himself. Of course they want to do business before deadline day, but it's very difficult to do, and it's not as easy as just Arsenal want a striker, let's sign one.
Yeah, and it's difficult to find number 9 specifically, isn't it? So, I mean, is it possible that they could bring in a forward who isn't a number 9, someone who can maybe play across the front line, but not an out-and-out number 9?
But then you're back to the same situation again. In 6 months' time, everyone's going to be saying Arsenal need a striker again, which, again, would probably be easier to do in the summer. And that's what Arsenal have to trade off here. You know, your magic missing piece, let's just say Isak or Benjamin Sesko, or, you know, that number 9 is going to be more attainable in the summer than they are now. How much are they willing to invest into a stopgap or somebody who can help the squad in the long-term vision without compromising too much what they want to do in the summer? Even Matheus Cunha, he's not a number 9. He's not what Arsenal actually need in terms of that number 9. If you want him to sort of play in a left 8, and then Declan Rice can come one back, and then you've got Odegaard as a right 8, maybe so. But that, again, that's a bit of a shoehorn. He's an out-and-out 10. Yeah. Can spend time on the wing as well. So if they was to invest heavily into him at the expense of, now we've eaten into money, we maybe would have tabled for Isak or gone for Benjamin Sesko or Vlahovic or whoever the 9 is, that's a bigger problem. So they need players. They do. They need something, but it is difficult. It really, really is difficult. And I don't think that is, as soon as Arsenal get that number 9, that's it for me. They win the title. Yeah. I've said it many times before. I think they need more creativity in midfield. They have enough defenders. That's evident. And when Bukayo Saka's out, they need some cover there. So somebody is multifunctional across the front 3. But someone like Bukayo Saka, he's so good, you're convincing a player to come and essentially say, when Bukayo needs a bit of a rest, you get a game. Yeah. So you've got to be really creative with your scouting. So, look, he's being very honest. They need players and they need forwards now.
I hope you've not used up all your gold on Matheus Cunha there. We're going to expand that point. Yeah. Will Cunha get a move before the deadline? Big question for Wolves. The forward is yet to sign a new contract offer on the table by the club. And he is wanted by several clubs, including Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa and Arsenal. Dan, it's a club that you follow closely. What is the latest state of affairs? Do you think Matheus Cunha will still be a Wolves player in a week's time, just over a week?
Well, first of all, I'll give myself a bit of wiggle room and say that anything can happen in the transfer window, so I have said that. However, my feeling is that, first of all, Wolves do not want to sell Matheus Cunha. First of all, why would they when they're in a relegation battle? He also has 2.5 years left on his contract, so they're not under that financial pressure to sell him. And I think my feeling is, we talk about his new contract, I do feel that he probably isn't close to signing that at the moment because perhaps of all the noise around him at the moment. But I think if you're Wolves, you're just hoping to get through deadline day and just hope that he can refocus. I do think in the last few games we've seen him physically show a lot of frustration on the pitch that does seem slightly out of character, you know, to his teammates. We saw that. He is unsettled, and I think we're showing that. He's I've interviewed him a few times. He's very expressive. You know, he's a lovely person to interview as well, but I think he's showing that maybe a bit too much. Vitor Pereira said on the weekend, he's committed. we're keeping him. There's no such sense in selling him. And I think that's what we'll see come deadline day. I would also say I don't think any club can really afford him. I mean, you're looking at a player who potential double digits, assists and goals in the Premier League in a season. You're looking at someone who's well worth over 70 million, 80 million that Wolves would demand. Exactly. Who has that money in January?
Yeah, I tell you what, your stuff on Cunha was so good. Don't need to come back. Don't need to. I'm running out of time. Stay with us though. We've got loads more to come. We've picked out some Premier League teams who need to do business before that deadline next Monday. Stay tuned.
Welcome along to the Transfer Show. Dharmesh Chef and Michael Bridger here with the best transfer lines. Right, let's get straight to the topic that's been at the centre of this window. Arsenal's need for a striker. Mikel Arteta, when asked the question yet again, was at his most defiant yet.
Obviously, there's so much noise outside the club. Arsenal need to sign a forward. Arsenal need to sign a forward. And I know we sound like broken records when we ask you about that, but you clearly don't share that same sentiment. Do you think it is essential that you sign a forward, or would you be very happy with...
Sorry, I don't share what?
The same sentiment that you have to sign a forward this month? Or do you?
Have I ever said no to a striker?
No, but you don't feel it's a necessity, do you?
How do you say that?
You do feel it's a necessity?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, I'm saying so many people outside the club seem to think that Arsenal have to sign a forward this month.
So what is my opinion?
Yes.
That's what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay, my opinion is clear. We lost two very, very important players, Bukayo Saka and Gabi Jesus. So we lack goals, we lack people, we lack options in the front line. It's clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you think it's essential that you have to bring in a forward then in the next...
If we can get the right player, that's what we are actively looking at it. Yeah. Any player, no. Someone that makes us better and has an impact in the team. It's clearly that for the period that we lost them, ideally, we need some help because we were very short already and we're even shorter.
And is there work going on at the moment to bring... Have you identified targets?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Dharmesh, what's the latest with their search for a striker?
I mean, judging by what Mikel Arteta said there, clearly they want to bring in a forward. They've got injury problems. He's mentioned